On his very first day at the elite academy, the real young master decided he wanted to be the main character and make a huge entrance. I was just chilling and talking business with my crew when he struts over with zero riz and way too much ego to interrupt us. Listen up. I am the true young master, the Sterlings just brought back. Vincent is nothing but a hospital mistake. A total glitch. Now that he is back with his broke boy Vance family, what kind of business could he even have? If you want real deals, you should be talking to me. The whole squad just stared at him like he had grown a second head. Dead silence. A second later, Leo broke the silence with a massive snort. Bro, are you not embarrassed? Because I am getting major, second-hand cringe right now. The whole group started dying of laughter. We had been at Flora Academy for over 2 years, and this was the first time we saw a low-budget soap opera scene play out in real life. We had been a squad since middle school. I had the business game, the cash, and the connections locked down. Almost everyone here had their own side hustles, and they were all linked to me. It is a running joke at this point. If they were not my partners now, they knew I would be their biggest nightmare in the business world later. Theodore Sterling. He was just a flashy brand name with an empty box inside. The laughter hit him like invisible. Face slaps. And his cheeks were burning from the humiliation. Vincent Vance, he hissed, looking like he was about to blow a fuse. You think these background characters can protect you. You think you are special. Don't get it twisted. The Sterlings are a top-tier family. Since they kicked you out, you are nothing but a salty loser. You will be under my designer shoes forever. I just slowly capped my pen and stacked my papers. Totally unbothered. You are just mad. You don't fit in. So you are throwing a tantrum at me. I said, perfectly calm. They want to be my friends, because I don't use family money or try to buy people off with mineral water to seem important. Theodore was literally shaking with rage. I am the real Sterling here. Do you even know that the fancy water you are drinking was caught in a heavy metal scandal? Last year, his face went full tomato mode as his eyes darkened. Oh, wait, I said, acting like I just remembered something. I glanced at the watch on his wrist and gave him a polite little smile. That watch you are wearing is a discontinued model from 2 years ago. The Sterling family is not broke. Next time you go shopping, hit up an actual boutique so you don't get scammed again. That blunt roast was the final straw. Blinded by fury, he grabbed the stack of documents on my desk and tore them to shreds, screaming, "What kind of elite student are you, a bankrupt? Nobody like you thinks he can make a comeback," panting. He turned to the crowd. "And you, bird-brained losers, better wake up and smell the coffee. I am the only heir to the Sterling name. Offending me means offending the whole family. I can end your family businesses with a snap of my fingers. Everyone just kept their poker faces. Not even mad. They were just too lazy to argue with a walking circus." I looked at the trash on the floor and kindly told him, "If you make a mess, remember to clean it up." It was like he was punching air. Leaving Theodore feeling totally defeated, the humiliation was too much. And in a fit of rage, he raised his hand to slap me right across the face. "You little—" But Leo's hand shot out like a bolt of lightning, catching his wrist in a death grip. "What do you think you are doing? What is going on here?" A loud, angry voice boomed from the door. Everyone turned to see our teacher, Miss Diana, storming in. She looked at the mess on the floor. Then, at Theodore's arm being held mid-air by Leo, "Leo, let him go," she snapped. Leo dropped him. Miss Diana gave Theodore the death stare. "I don't care who your family is. At Flora, you are just a student. This is for learning, Not a playground for your drama. Get to studying. Our class average is already in the gutter, and I won't let anyone drag us down more. Properly roasted." Theodore gave her a nasty look and sprinted out of the room. That afternoon was the horse riding and golf exam, the standard back-to-school test. I was at the stables, gently petting my horse. "Wind Chaser, you are looking sharp today." "Buddy." Leo walked up, eyes on Theodore, who was picking out a horse nearby. "Place your bets. Which one do you think he is going to pick?" I didn't even look. As long as it is not Shadow, I don't care. Right then, Theodore's loud voice rang out. "I want this black horse." The instructor's face went white. "Theodore, Shadow is literally insane. He is definitely not for beginners. I want to try. Maybe I am the one who can finally tame it." Theodore looked so smug at that massive black horse, already imagining himself looking like a total boss on that horse, like a knight in shining armor. The instructor tried to stop him again. I dropped my brush and walked over. Shadow knew exactly what was up and started getting restless. As I got closer to Theodore, I gave him a fair warning. "If you really want to ride Shadow, you better be careful," I said, keeping my distance. "Shut up." Theodore snapped, his eyes full of pure salt. "Who needs a fake like you, pretending to be nice?" I just stepped back and gave him the "Be My Guest" sign. "All right then, if you want him that bad, go for it." He actually thought he won. He rushed to hop into the saddle. But then, out of nowhere, Shadow let out a massive neigh and reared up. The horse bucked hard. Before Theodore could even get steady, he was launched through the air and landed face first in the mud. He rolled a few times, ending up with grass and dirt all over his perfect hair. The whole crowd just went silent. That silence turned into muffled laughing real quick. Theodore's face went bright red as he clenched his fists in pure embarrassment. He looked up at me, eyes full of hate, before switching to his pity. Me act, "Vincent, you did that on purpose, didn't you? You made the horse throw me." I didn't even bother replying. I just walked over and petted Shadow. The wild horse immediately calmed down and started nuzzling me. The contrast was honestly hilarious. Theodore's face went from green to pale white. He scrambled up, his voice shaking like he was about to cry. "You guys are all bullying me just because I am the new guy. Look at how the young master acts. Not only did he steal 10 years of my life, but now he is using his skills to flex on me. I already warned you. But you insisted on trying." I told him calmly. Everyone in our grade knew Shadow belonged to Penelope Quinn. Since he was a foal, he only ever let Penelope and me ride him. Once I graduated, Shadow was going straight back to the Quinn Group private ranch anyway. Still, a few NPCs from other classes looked sympathetic. Harry, from Class 2, actually stepped forward. "Vincent, don't go too far. Theodore is new here. You probably didn't even explain it right." I was too lazy to argue with him, so I just hopped onto my horse. I gave a little nudge and let Wind Chaser trot toward the field. Jacob just rolled his eyes at Harry. "Harry, bro, just last year you were begging Vincent to help your dad get some business contacts. Now you are acting like some saint of justice." Harry choked on his words, trying to find a comeback. But Theodore wiped his tears and forced a brave smile. "It is fine. It is my fault. I shouldn't have touched Vincent's things." Leo rolled his eyes so hard, I thought they might get stuck. He hopped on his horse, muttering under his breath, "Absolute clown behavior," he said as he followed me. I told my friends to chill. The test is starting. Save your energy. The test went by class, and the student with the best record went first. Obviously, That was me. I steered Shadow through 6 obstacles perfectly, finishing in a record-breaking 45 seconds. As for Theodore, his first time on a horse was a disaster. He was just hugging the reins for dear life. No matter how much he yelled, the horse wouldn't move an inch. Result: 0 points. Next was golf. For me, golf is just a casual hobby, so it was a piece of cake. Theodore, on the other hand, swung his club so hard he literally yeeted it across the green. Our class finished early, not wanting to stick around. We changed and headed back to the room. Back in the classroom, Theodore dropped the fragile act. He marched over to my desk with a cold glare. He violently swiped my water thermos off the table. The custom-insulated cup hit the floor with a loud thud, instantly, getting a huge dent. Oops. My hand slipped. Theodore said he acted surprised, but his eyes were full of malice. That was a gift from Penelope. It had smart temperature control and everything. She bought it because she was worried I would drink cold water. I slowly looked up, my gaze turning ice cold. $28,000. Cash. Or wire transfer? 28 grand for a piece of trash cup. Who are you trying to scam? Have you gone mad from being poor? You still think you are the rich heir? Harry jumped in too. Yeah? Theodore is the real deal here. You are just a fake. Vincent. Stop acting so high and mighty. I ignored the trash and bent down. I picked up the thermos and gently wiped the dent. Then I spoke, my tone terrifyingly calm. Harry, last month, you begged me to help your dad get the Thornditch project. If I remember right, that contract hasn't been signed yet. Harry flinched when I looked at him, but he tried to play it off. You are just a fake now. You got kicked out by the Sterlings. So stop pretending you still have power. I didn't waste another breath. I pulled out my phone and sent 2 quick messages to the manager of that project. Theodore gave a smug snort. Say, Vincent, they would rather listen to me than spare a single word for you. Bro really thinks he's him. Look at your status. Bro, just a broke loser with 0 flex. But right as he finished talking, a voice erupted from the hallway. What an absolute load of trash. The whole room went ice cold. Everyone turned around and saw this gorgeous blonde at the door, one hand in her pocket, totally chill. The other hand held a fancy pastry box. She looked absolutely disgusted. Chloe strutted in like she owned the place, her heels clicking loud as hell. She looked at Harry and Louis like they were literal mouldy bread. She slammed the box on my desk and asked, Is your brain made of cardboard? If you love barking this much, why don't you go guard the school gates? You'd be a natural, plus you'd actually get paid for being a dog. Then she looked at Theodore, and she looked even more grossed out. Her face was purely judgmental. Looking at you is bad for my feng shui. If you're blind, hit a hospital. Stop yapping and ruining my boy's mood. Theodore was completely stunned by the verbal assault. He just stood there, with his face turning beet red. I just laughed and started untying the ribbon on the box. I took a bite of a red bean cake. Straight fire. I looked at Chloe and smiled. From Ningfu Wang. Right. Suddenly, her rage turned into a dramatic pout. You know it. I flew over 1,000 miles just for these. Aren't I the goat? I just nodded, feeling satisfied, sharing the famous specialties with my friends. Chloe glared at those 3 losers again and told me, Miss Quinn is coming. We're heading to the principal's office for a little chat. Figure we should tell him about the weird new wildlife in this school. Theodore finally snapped out of it and slammed his hand on the desk. Who do you think you're talking to, Leo? Just crossed his arms and sneered. He wasn't loud, but everyone heard him. Genius designer Chloe. Graduated St. Flora with top honours. Class of 2019. Heavy hitter in the Alumni Association. Theodore just scoffed. Alumni Association. Just a bunch of old people. Big deal. But Harry's face went white. He finally realised that even if I wasn't the sterling heir anymore, the people backing me up were far from normal. Senior. I am so sorry. Harry stammered, trying to grab her sleeve. Chloe stepped back like he had the plague. Who is your senior? Maybe install a Wi-Fi antenna on your head, so you can locate where you actually stand in life. With that, she turned around and walked out, leaving a trail of pure flex behind her. Downstairs, Chloe met up with Penelope, who was rushing over. After a quick briefing, the two of them marched straight to the admin building. The 50-something principal was just sipping his tea. Then boom. The door got kicked open. He jumped, spilling hot tea all over a new painting. You two? Ever heard of knocking? He scrambled to wipe the water off. But when he looked up and saw those two grim reapers, he completely forgot about the painting. Chloe just plopped into the chair across from him, legs crossed. Knock for what? My boy is getting bullied in your school. Who has time for that? Before the principal could process it, Penelope, who was just chilling by the door, added coldly, This school doesn't allow cliques or bullying. My best friend is being harassed. If you don't handle it, I'll take this door off its hinges myself. The principal slammed his hands on the desk and stood up, acting all righteous. This is an outrage. Wait here. I'll discipline those punks and give you a satisfactory answer. Meanwhile, back in class, Theodore was still clueless. She is just an alumni. No big deal. He looked at Harry, who was literally shaking, and frowned. Why are you shaking? You coward. Then he decided to flex on Louis, who was hiding in a corner. Go buy me a warm strawberry milk from the cafeteria. Now Louis, looking pale as a ghost, just kept his head down and ran out. Before class even started, the PA system crackled. It announced punishments for Theodore, Louis, and Harry. The school was not playing about their zero-tolerance policy for bullies. Theodore froze. Disciplined on day one, he was the young master of the Sterling family, punished over a broken cup. Was everyone blind? His little squad was over, before it even started. After school, the gates were packed. Snack carts were everywhere, doing huge numbers, even with all the rich kids. Nobody can resist street food. In the crowd, I spotted her immediately. The one and only Natalie Vance. Big sister. A voice shouted out exactly what I was thinking. I followed the noise and saw Theodore running toward Natalie with a huge grin. Seeing that bright smile, Natalie's heart was basically a war zone. She flashed back to the old days, waiting for him after school. He used to run to her exactly like that. Man. She used to spoil this little brother rotten. But when the Vance family went bankrupt, before reality really set in, they still caught the bus home together. Even walked. If the weather was fire, pure happiness was so easy back then. But it shattered fast. Theodore's smile slowly turned into pure disgust. I am not squeezing onto this bus anymore. This smell is straight trash. Carry me home. If you can't even do that, why didn't you buy a bike? If you're broke, go get a part-time job. Just like that. He tossed the raccoon, plushie he used to love, and fully ghosted the sister he once called the best in the world. Natalie swallowed the lump in her throat, trying to keep it together. She had no idea how to deal with this new Theodore, but Theodore, he was acting totally oblivious, smiling all sweet. I miss the days we went to school together. It sucks, I had to transfer to St. Flora. My classmates are such haters. They only want to play with Vincent. His smile dropped, eyes turning red. Acting like I was the main villain gatekeeping the whole class. Natalie saw right through the cap. She thought about how I had been acting these past few days, and she just blurted out, "Vincent is not that kind of person." Theodore's face went stone cold. No way. He assumed that since I lost my luxury life and moved into a tiny apartment, my spoiled brat attitude would come out. But Natalie was actually vibing with me. It was like in just a few days. She had already forgotten the brother she spent 17 years with. I didn't know young Master Sterling had a hobby of claiming sisters everywhere he goes. Hearing Natalie back me up, I smirked and walked over. Or maybe you just like stealing other people's sisters. Seeing me. Natalie looked so relieved. She gave me a gentle smile and didn't even give Theodore a second look. Get on the bike. Let's go home. I let out a soft smile as I jumped onto the back seat. Let's move. As we left, Theodore was literally fuming. We were laughing and chatting so happily. And that happiness was supposed to be his cut to the Sterling mansion. A massive 3-story villa on the hillside. The sunset was hitting the white marble walls, making everything look gold. Theodore stood at the iron gates, gazing at the ultimate flex of wealth and status. His anger faded into a smug smirk as he strutted inside like he owned the place. "What are you standing around for? Go make some tea," he barked at the maid like she was nothing. Auntie Luong just bowed. "Yes, young master." She rushed into the kitchen, scared out of her mind. Ever since the real heir came back, whenever the parents were out, the entire household was basically walking on thin ice. This kid was picky, had a short fuse, and loved throwing things, or just screaming at the staff for no reason. Auntie Luong sighed while brewing the tea. "Is it done yet?" Theodore's angry voice boomed from the living room. Auntie Luong jumped, almost dropping the pot, and hurried out. Theodore was lounging on the sofa, tapping his fingers like a villain. He took one sip and, straight up, threw the cup at her feet. "What is this trash? It tastes like dishwater." Boiling tea splashed her hand, turning her skin bright red instantly. She gasped in pain, but didn't dare say a word of complaint. She just kept her head down, hands shaking. "I'm so sorry. Young master, I'll brew a fresh pot right now." She knelt down, trembling as she picked up the broken glass. "What's with all the noise?" A deep voice echoed from the stairs. "Theodore Froze?" His face went completely pale. "Dad, why are you home, Richard Sterling?" Looking sharp in a tailored suit, walked down the spiral stairs. He looked like a literal storm cloud. His eyes were like knives. Locked onto Theodore with pure rage. He marched over and slapped Theodore right across the face. Smack. "Look at yourself. Do you have even a drop of—" the class expected from an heir of an elite family, causing drama and getting disciplined on your very first day. You have completely dragged the Sterling name through the mud, meanwhile. Far away from that toxic house. The Vance family's tiny apartment was warm and full of good vibes. The whole family was around the dinner table, sharing food and looking out for each other. A pair of chicken drumsticks was being passed around. "Kids, you take the drumsticks. Adults, eat the wings." Susan laughed, giving Natalie a wing and handing the drumsticks to Mia and me. "Thanks." "Mum?" Natalie said, looking way happier than before. Honestly, finally facing Theodore was probably the closure she needed to ditch the past. Staring at this chicken drumstick in my bowl, I felt this weird warmth in my chest. It hit different. See? The Sterling family was obsessed with class. At their table, you sat 3 feet apart. No talking. No noise. And zero sharing. Poorest. Richard was never there. so I usually just ate in total silence. Trash vibes. But the Vance family, complete opposite. Everyone is sharing the good stuff. Eating and talking like crazy. We were packed into a tiny apartment, less than 750 square feet, but the vibes were actually fire. This is what a real home feels like. Usually, the kids are at school, and Dad is out grinding rideshare shifts. I want to start a side hustle, Susan said, rubbing her hands together, all nervous. Right now, I am just doing random odd jobs. My boss said I could buy toys wholesale. I was thinking about setting up a stand near the elementary school. She looked kind of embarrassed. I have zero experience, so I do not know if I will just fail. What if we lose money? Back in the day, she was a pampered girl. But after marrying Arthur, back when he was successful, she became a stay-at-home mom. She had never actually stepped into the world to grind for a paycheck. After the family went broke, she wanted to help out. But in the past life, Theodore was always complaining, telling her she needed to stay home and be a comfortable housewife. Spoiler, being a housewife is not comfortable at all. Laundry, cooking, cleaning. It is all back-breaking labor. She only agreed to it to make sure the kids had hot meals. But now that I am back, the whole family is on God mode motivation. She wants to contribute too. That is fire. Mom Natalie was instantly on board. Doing chores all day alone is a total snooze fest. Going out and selling stuff is a move. Whether we get rich or not, just treat it like a way to distress. I added. Arthur put his chopsticks down and grabbed his wife's hand. You have been through so much these past few years. You have not had a chance to do anything for yourself. Everyone needs to feel like they are contributing. If you want to try a business, go for it. We are all behind you. Susan finally breathed a sigh of relief. She looked at me since I had not said anything yet. What do you think? I thought about it for a sec. Selling toys means buying a ton of stock, which is way too expensive up front. Little kids barely have lunch money. So the cash flow is slow. Since you are looking at school dismissal times, those breakfast and snack carts are absolute gold mines. You should sell food. St. Flora High, and the other high schools are right there. Huge crowds. You will never run out of customers. But breakfast is a grind. You have to wake up at the crack of dawn to prep. But honestly, I am 100% down for the idea. Susan's face lit up. She felt like she was floating. I do not mind the hard work, but I only know how to cook basic home meals. I do not know how to make anything fancy. Stay confident. Mum, your cooking is better than most restaurants. I told her, we do not need to be 5-star. Just make it tasty and filling. The breakfast market is huge. As for what exactly to sell, I could not give a specific pick because there were already so many carts. I had never actually visited those street stands. As the sterling heir, my diet was strictly controlled. They thought street food was low class and would ruin my image. Over the years, I basically lost my appetite. The family kept hiring new chefs, but the food was not the problem. It was the freezing, suffocating atmosphere of that mansion. It was over. How about trying rice balls like the ones at fast food spots? But homemade, I suggested. Simpler ingredients. Easy to make. I used to buy them in middle school and they were cracked. Blues. I've not seen anyone selling them near the gates lately. You will definitely have customers. Natalie was like, that is a massive W. Arthur and Susan both thought it was a solid plan. Tomorrow, I will go grab the ingredients and try a test batch. Susan was hype. Make sure we get a taste test and give feedback. Arthur added, bringing up a real point. If you are selling rice balls, do you need a custom cart? Most street vendors have carts built for their workflow. Natalie nodded. The rice ball stands, I saw, used a steamer box to keep the rice warm. But we could use a wooden barrel lined with thick fabric for better insulation. Arthur was hyped. It is settled. Tomorrow. I will ask my driver, Bros, if anyone has a second-hand cart. Now let us plan the menu, so Mum can shop. Natalie cleared the table and grabbed a pen. The whole family started brainstorming, just laughing at the wild suggestions. Honestly, I was shook by how fast they made a move. These guys were built different. Just moments after talking business, they were already moving on the logistics. Poorest, Vincent. When you have nothing to lose, you are braver with the trial and error. That kind of courage is exactly what leads to success. Caught up in the hype, and realizing I was finally part of a real family, I raised my hand. Leave the cart to me. The room went dead silent. Everyone stared at me. And, honestly, it felt a little awkward. Arthur frowned. Vincent, look, I know you lived with the Sterlings for years and might have some cash saved, but you are a student now. We talk family business together, but we do not ask our kids to front the money. You already helped enough with the renovation. I will be paying you back for every piece of furniture you bought. I bit my lip. It was such a strange feeling, having never felt real family love before. I was not used to this energy. After a few seconds of silence, I had to explain. It is not like that. I have a classmate whose family runs a stainless steel business. I was just going to ask if they had any cheap factory seconds to save us some stacks. Only then did Arthur finally chill. Mentioning Chloe reminded me to tell them her crew was coming tomorrow. I did not want Susan catching a heart attack from the surprise. We talked until past 11 p.m. Since us kids had school, we wrapped up the planning and took turns hitting the shower, locked in my room. I lay on my bed, checking the invoice from Chloe. That girl is a genius designer, and she really outdid herself. The total for the high-end materials and furniture was $21,800. She did not even charge for labor. She probably used her personal squad. Chloe does not trust outside contractors because they are mid and always cut corners. For top-tier designs, one tiny mistake, and the whole look is cooked. She keeps her own crew for the crucial stuff. Usually, their premium fees are insane. But for me, she comped the whole thing. Chloe is blunt and fiercely protective. She never loses an argument. But she is ride or die. If she is yelling at someone, you know they deserved it. Usually because the client had zero taste or was acting like trash. I transferred the exact amount to her instantly. A second later, my phone buzzed. Chloe said, "You are still awake." Good. I think Theodore has actually lost his mind. Guess what he called to tell me? He called me a low-class peasant. Dear Lord, where does he get this superiority complex? The Qing dynasty fell a long time ago. But bro is still out here talking about highborn and lowborn. He had the audacity to threaten me with the sterling name. Said if I did not design for him, I was disrespecting his family. And that I would be blacklisted. I laughed so hard I nearly choked. I wanted to send a backhoe to dig the nonsense out of his head. Even if the Sterlings were royalty, Richard and Beatrice would have to be insane to blacklist me over that idiot. The funniest part, right after his little tantrum, I got the invite to his welcome home banquet. Should I go and slap his face, aside from being a bit loud? Chloe was a spectacular friend. I read the last line and was about to reply. Childish. But then I realized I was just as petty. Vince, you absolutely have to go. With a comedy show this good, you better live stream the whole thing for me. At the school gates, Iran in Toluna. Speaking of those invitations, Leo threw an arm over my shoulder. Looking like a hero, but with a face full of pure drama. Regarding Theodore, you are not planning to crash the party. Are you? That is the real Sterling family. Men, offending them means your parents might skin you alive. Everyone hates Theodore because of the inheritance war, but that is strictly between the two young masters. Theodore is just a pawn for business marriages. A total zero. But offending the Sterling family itself, they have 4 generations in politics and 6 in business. Their power is no joke. Making a scene at their official banquet is just asking for a world of hurt. Nobody wins there. Leo knew the deal. Why even bother wait? Haven't you heard the news? The 2 Sterling daughters are flying back. No way, Luna looked at me in shock, waiting for the tea. I paused for a second, then just gave a faint smile. How should I know I am just a broke, bankrupt student? Now, my intel cannot match yours. Bankrupt, but still acting like the main character. Luna teased me, raising an eyebrow. Suddenly, someone called out to me. I stopped and turned. A guy in his uniform, with the top 2 buttons undone, looking way too cool for school. He walked over to us. Spencer narrowed his eyes at Leo, as if he wanted to rip his collar off. Are you ever going to learn how to button your shirt? Mind your business. Leo shot back. Spencer turned to me. That painting you submitted is interesting. I want to buy the usage rights. I just chuckled. Go to the school auction. Bro, just because you buy it does not mean the artist will let you use it for commercial stuff. Simple. I will just buy you out, Spencer said casually, as if he were buying a sandwich and not a multi-million-dollar asset. Even for a charity auction. That was a massive flex. It wasn't some world-class masterpiece. But my painting, Ocean of Dust, took first place. The starting bid, over $5 million, serious flex. If Spencer was down to pay that much, I wasn't gonna say no. Plot twist. Though the painting was actually my sister's, since you're dealing with me, I told him I'd have her sign it. Spencer already knew I wasn't the artist anyway. So, how are we doing this? I told him I'd draft a contract and meet his parents. I joked about him being scared I'd pocket the commission, and Spencer just nodded like, exactly. Bro was dead serious. I'll send it over once it's drafted. I agreed. Spencer headed into class first. And that's when I heard Theodore's annoying voice. My parents are throwing a welcome banquet to officially announce me as the Sterling heir. I don't really have many friends in this circle yet, so I hope you guys can all make it. Theodore saw us walk in and gave this big, fake smile. Vincent, you should come too. There's gonna be tons of fire food. If you don't have a suit, I can lend you one. My parents bought me so many new ones. You can just pick whichever one you like. Leo rolled his eyes into another dimension. Oh, give it a rest already. Your suits only fit your weird proportions anyway. Young Master Vincent doesn't wear second-hand trash. And he definitely doesn't care about your little buffet. I just smirked. Every time I faced Theodore, I felt how much my friends backed me up. Even without the Sterling title, I was still that guy. I had people watching my back. I was too lazy to even look at Theodore again. So I just walked to my desk and said it flatly. Looks like your etiquette coach is a total fraud. Didn't he teach you that invitations should be sent out, at least a week in advance? Verbally inviting people at the last minute isn't just fake. It's straight up disrespectful. You only pay on the disc, sat down, and looked Theodore right in the eyes. Or are you low-key trying to insult me right now? Of course not. Theodore denied it immediately, twisting his fingers like he was the victim. I just saw how broke your family is, and I figured you weren't living well. I wanted to invite you so you could finally take the chance to apologize to my parents. I'm sure they'd agree to take you back if you did. I just gave a cold laugh. But Leo absolutely lost it. Are you out of your mind? Apologize. Apologize for what? What did Vincent even do wrong? Theodore finally shut his mouth. He just looked down with tears in his eyes. Leo absolutely loathed this fake White Lotus act. Theodore was clearly the one starting drama. But he acted like the victim. His innocent saint act was so bad it was embarrassing. Did he think these high society heirs were blind? Louis didn't miss the chance to start chasing that sterling clout. He stepped up to defend Theodore against Leo. Theodore is just being kind. Worrying about Vincent's living conditions. Why are you being so aggressive? Kind, Leo just scoffed. This guy is unbelievable. I think he needs a serious reality check. Did anyone even ask if Vincent wants to go back to the Sterlings? He's making decisions for him like he's the king of the world or something. Louis opened his mouth, but he was totally speechless. Deep down, he knew Theodore was a fraud. But unlike Leo, who was the only heir to a happy family, Louis had brothers everywhere, and 0 guaranteed inheritance. His future was basically just being a pawn in some business marriage. He didn't see anything wrong with that, so he was hunting for a big target. If he could marry a Sterling daughter, he'd be set for life. That's why he sided with Theodore. Theodore was clueless about high society. And stupid people are easy to control. I knew exactly what Louis was trying to do, but I honestly couldn't care less. Whatever schemes people had didn't matter to me as long as they didn't mess with me. The upper-class circle is always messy. Who knows if the outcast today will be at the top of the food chain tomorrow? Enough noise. I said, finally speaking up. I broke the tension, not wanting Leo to make enemies for my sake. I looked at Theodore and made it very clear. Remember 2 things. First, I have 0 intention of ever returning to the Sterling family. Second, I'm not interested in playing your little fake heir drama games. As long as you stay out of my face, we're cool. But if you dare cross the line, let's see if the Sterling family can actually protect you. Theodore's heart sank. He looked at me like he couldn't believe it. He couldn't handle my calm, confident energy. Why was I still so composed, even after losing my title? There wasn't a trace of shame in me. The whole class still had my back, still calling me Boss Vince, and now I was boldly claiming I could go toe-to-toe with the Sterlings. Where did this confidence come from? Was it Penelope? What if Penelope didn't have my back? Theodore was staring at me with a calculating look, trying to figure it out. Luna lazily hopped onto the desk next to mine. She told him, "Don't hurt your tiny bird brain, trying to think too hard. It'd be a miracle if you ever figured it out. Even we've known Vince for 10 years, and we don't even know the full extent of his power. All we know is, whenever we need something impossible or totally insane, he always finds a way. He's just built different. Sure. His solo network isn't as deep as the Sterlings. But add it all up, and even the Sterlings at the top of the food chain could get toppled. Bro, if you want to survive in this world, you better learn how to read the room." Luna's voice was dripping with sarcasm. Leo didn't actually care about teaching Theodore a lesson. He just wanted this trash to stop bothering his bestie. He was like, exactly. Theodore was fuming, his eyes literally burning with pure salt. Dude finally couldn't take it and bolted out of class. Theodore Lewis shouted, faking that worried friend energy, and acted like he was going to chase after him. I blocked his path, and he gave me a total death stare. I just gave him a tiny smirk. If you want to recruit a lackey, you got to strike when they're at their lowest. Louis froze, realizing what I meant. He looked at me suspicious as hell. "Are you actually helping me?" I just shrugged. "Look, I don't move unless there is something in it for me. You and that guy are basically useless to me. But good luck." Louis stayed silent. "I get it," he said. then headed out to find Theodore. Once they cleared out, Leo stretched his arms. Velp, the comedy show is officially over. He pulled out a red certificate from his bag and dropped it on my desk. Vince, I got it done exactly the way you wanted. How does it look, Trash? I said with a straight face. I am having someone redo it. But they haven't delivered it yet. I checked it out. The wording was standard, and the printing looked fire, except for that missing school seal. It looked totally legit. Not bad. Thanks. Luna leaned in. Curious as hell. Boss, what's the plan for this? Tricking your little sister. I shoved the certificate in my bag, feeling pretty amused. 17 years old, and here I am forging papers to trick a kid. Then Leo remembered my question from yesterday, and it clicked. You're telling your sister that the painting she gave you won some contest, and then you're using your own cash for the prize money. I just nodded. I decided on $5,000. Spending $5,000 to buy a clean reputation, that's a high-level play. Luna's mouth twitched. So, you're not telling the Vance family about where the money's coming from? No need. I'll just say there was a cash prize. By giving her the cash, the story changes. Instead of me using my sister for clout, I'm just a guy recognizing her talent and not letting it go to waste. Even if the award has my name on it, giving her the money proves I'm not stealing her credit. I explained this as chill as if I were reading a weather report. Honestly, the logic was flawless. Leo went silent. Men, this guy really was raised by the Sterlings. All he sees is profit. Zero emotions. But hey, that's just business. I hung with them because we were the same age and had been friends for years. But the Vance family, to me, they were basically strangers who just happened to share my DNA. How long are you planning to stay with the Vances? Leo asked. With my skills? Leaving the Sterlings meant I was definitely going to be independent. Staying with the Vances had to mean I had some secret motive. But there was no way I was staying forever. Who knows? I kept it vague. Being underage was such a drag. That apartment was just a pit stop until I turned 18. After that, I could legally go solo and live my own life. As for the future, nothing was set in stone. I wasn't helping the Vances because I'm a nice guy, like hooking Mia up with Master Owen. It was only because she actually had talent, and the Master needed a student. If those things weren't true, I wouldn't have bothered. Everything else I did was just so I could live comfortably. I'm used to the luxury life. No way I was going to suffer in a trash apartment and lose sleep for a year. Plus, I wanted to make sure that when I finally bounce, I owed the Vance family absolutely zero. Standing on the 5th floor balcony, Louis looked down and saw Theodore hiding behind a rock garden, crying his eyes out. Pure pathetic. Louis waited for about 20 minutes before heading down. As he got close, he purposely messed up his hair and jogged in place to get out of breath, faking like he'd been looking everywhere. Theodore, there you are. Dude, I've been searching all over for you. Theodore quickly wiped his tears, looking at Louis in shock. Why are you here? Louis sighed, playing that worried friend role perfectly. I was worried. Bro, you ran off like that? How was I supposed to focus in class? Suddenly, feeling like someone actually cared. Theodore, who thought he was all alone, completely broke down. He started sobbing like crazy. I just wanted to fit in. But everyone's so biased against me. Louis patted his back, comforting him. They've always been like that. Just constantly glazing Vincent. I hate that stuff. Which is why I don't really have close friends in class either. Theodore, if you want, I'll be your friend. Theodore's eyes lit up. He sniffled and nodded like crazy. Ever since he returned to the Sterlings, he had zero people to talk to. His parents were always busy, and his two sisters were out of the country. Imagine living in a house full of soulless robots and a scary dog in the back. At school, he had 0 friends. Everyone ghosted him. Nobody cared about his struggle. What was he supposed to do? "Talk to the dog!" Louis grabbed Theodore's hands and whispered, "Yo, Theo, I get it, man. Going from a regular life to being a top-tier heir is a whole different level. You have to adapt to. So much, so fast. The pressure must be insane. If you ever feel low, just hit me up. I might not have all the answers, but venting helps." Theodore squeezed back, totally moved by the gesture. "Thanks, Louis." Then, after a minute, Theodore dropped a question. "Why does everyone hype up Vincent? Is it because of that girl? Penelope Quinn. Yesterday he noticed Penelope wasn't even in our class. But everyone treated her like royalty. There was definitely a weird vibe between Penelope and me. Was the clout I still had in class. Even after losing the sterling name, only because of my bond with her. The cold truth was, yeah, part of it was definitely the Penelope buff, but Louis didn't know the whole tea. So he kept it vague. Say, Vincent, Penelope, Leo, and Luna go way back. Their bond isn't just for business, especially Penelope. In our generation, she's the only one who's already running her family empire. They were childhood besties. They aren't officially a thing, but anyone with eyes can see they're more than friends. Blues? Leo is the only heir to the Leo legacy. His bag was so big it guaranteed these three were tighter than blood, with Penelope and Leo backing me. Even though I lost my status, nobody dared to touch me. Also, though Louis didn't say it, I was low-key cracked on my own. Theodore just coped by thinking I was only tough because I was hiding behind them. Curious. He asked, "Is the Quinn family really that OP Louis told him? The Quinns are top tier in the city, totally equal to the Sterlings, and they're tight in business. But Penelope's parents had a bad crash last year, and they're still in the hospital. Penelope had to take over the whole empire early. Everyone in the circle knows this. She's a literal genius. Right after high school, she ditched, studying abroad to run the massive Quinn group. In the last year, the company didn't just survive. It thrived. Even the old heads respect her and call her Miss Quinn." Hearing this, Theodore gripped his shirt. Stuck in his head. The Sterlings and Quinns were a power duo. If Penelope became his girl, I'd lose all my leverage. Cut to the Vance apartment today. Susan was testing out her rice ball recipe. She needed tons of ingredients. So Arthur skipped his driving shift to stay home and help her. He opened the door to see Chloe, and remembered his son mentioned a designer was coming over with a crew. He stepped back and said respectfully, "Designer Chloe, please come in." Chloe walked in and gave a polite nod. "Hello, Mr. Vance." She saw someone busy in the kitchen and called out, "Hey, Mrs. Vance, I'm a friend of Vincent. Here with the team to flip the apartment layout. Hope we're not bothering you." Susan washed her hands and rushed out. "Not at all. We should be thanking you. Please, sit and have some tea. We haven't even finished packing yet." Chloe just waved it off. "Oh, don't even worry about it. Vincent said, any old furniture you're done with. My guys will haul away to a thrift shop. Just pack your clothes and personal stuff. If there's anything you want to keep, just tell me, and the guys will move it." Arthur and Susan were shook. "What do you mean?" Arthur asked. Chloe looked confused. "Vincent didn't tell you guys. He told me to redesign the whole place and buy brand new furniture." Arthur was stunned. "Replace everything. How much is that going to cost?" Susan grabbed his arm. "Don't overthink it. Since it's already bought, let's not slow Chloe down. She took off her apron, put it on the table, and gave Chloe a kind look. Just leave the old stuff downstairs. You don't have to carry it away. Chloe was like, no way. It's fine. We have a huge truck. It's easy. Otherwise, you'd have to pay someone to move all this junk. Chloe said. Being a total boss, Susan rubbed her hands together. Okay, we'll pack the main bedroom first. There's less stuff in there. The couple started packing while the crew got to work. Chloe went full drill sergeant mode. Are you gluing that wallpaper to your eyeballs? Look at that gap. Is you trying to build a highway for the ants? Can't you see the wall peeling? Clean it up first. Were you going to plant a garden in there and wait for it to grow? Those window and door frames better be perfect. If it's even slightly crooked, I'll rip it off and make you start over. Inside the bedroom, Arthur and Susan heard the designer's roars and got literal goosebumps. They started packing way faster. The legendary poison-tongued designer is no joke. Chloe really lived up to her name. Arthur was putting in work with the crew while Susan was hustling, moving all those packed boxes into the living room. Then she headed back to the kitchen to brew some tea and finish her rice balls. She poured a cup and brought it out. Chloe was metrant. Hands on her hips. But the second she heard Susan coming, her fury vanished instantly. Pure switch up. She turned around and took the cup with both hands. Thank you, Mrs. Vance. Susan just smiled. Don't be so formal. You've been friends with Vincent for years. Just call me Auntie. Seeing that this fiery girl was actually super polite and chill, Susan decided to test the waters. Auntie is planning to sell rice balls. I'm testing the recipe today. I haven't made lunch yet. So, if you're hungry, want to taste? Absolutely. Chloe wasn't the type to play hard to get. I'm literally starving. Susan's face lit up. She looked at the crew. Should we let them take a break too? Having so many people here. I hope it's not a vibe killer. Not at all. I brought extra guys, specifically so we could speed run this. Chloe said. She called for a timeout, letting the crew eat and drink before getting back to the grind. Susan brought out a platter of rice balls, cut in half to show off the different fillings. Asking everyone for a review, these ingredients are so fresh. Chloe hyped her up before even taking a bite. You can just tell by looking it smells fire. Everyone else uses frozen trash. Finding someone using fresh stuff like you, Auntie, that's rare. After tasting it, she gave a massive thumbs up. Seriously delicious. Her high praise made Susan ecstatic. The crew also gassed her up, smiling as they ate their fill. Susan invited Chloe to sit and drink tea. Noticing the designer seemed to have something heavy on her mind. Chloe, how did you meet Vincent? She asked, nervously. We met at a banquet. We're close in age and just clicked well. It's been about 10 years now. Susan nodded, looking a bit awkward. Vincent has been back for 5 days, but he feels so distant. We don't know his life, his habits, or his hobbies. Can you tell us more about him? Chloe got it. Vincent was probably staying with the Vances for his own calculated moves. But the Vances legit saw him as their son. Vincent grew up with zero family warmth. He'd become cold and totally detached. Susan and Arthur just wanted him to fit in and feel loved. Chloe said, feeling the genuine kindness of the Vance family. She used to worry Vincent would suffer here, but now she hoped he could actually feel what a real family is like. She started explaining. In the Sterling house, his adoptive parents didn't care about his feelings at all. He was raised with 2 older sisters. But he wasn't a home. It was constant mind games and brutal competition. Growing up with zero love made Vincent cold and distant. He was built different, but in a sad way, lacking that human warmth. He had friends and a childhood sweetheart. But that kind of love couldn't fill the void, left by a family. When I first met him, he was a sharp-witted kid. Slowly, he became excessively calm. He had a vibe, way beyond his years. But he lost all his innocence. The Sterling house wasn't a home. It was as cold as a factory. No warmth, no normal family squabbles, just cold efficiency. The 3 kids were raised to be insanely talented, but none of them were normal. Susan's heart broke, learning her son was never loved there. She thought he'd been pampered and happy. She thought his distance was just because they were poor and he couldn't adapt. Now she knew he was cold, because he was starved of love. "What does Vincent even like to eat?" she asked. Flora shook her head. "I'm not sure. The Sterling family changes their head chef twice a year. No one stays more than 6 months. That afternoon after school, Natalie and I were walking home while Mia followed behind, entering the complex. The neighbours were all over Natalie. "Natalie, did your family hit the jackpot?" Why the new furniture? Natalie was stunned. She looked at me. "Weren't we just moving things around and adding a desk? Why are we replacing everything?" I just blinked and kept a straight face. "Oh, Chloe is a perfectionist. She has crazy connections in the furniture game. So it didn't cost much." I smoothly pinned it all on Chloe. At that exact moment, Chloe, who was currently yelling at a contractor, sneezed like crazy. "Achoo! Is there too much dust in here? Wear a mask next time." The 3 of us walked in. The crew was clearing out the trash from the living room. They replaced the kitchen cabinets and the sink. Natalie and Mia were shook. There was a new, slim shoe cabinet by the door. It looked too thin to hold anything, but the shelves were slanted inside. Massive space saver. It could hold every single pair of shoes. No more stuffing them under the bed. The peeling walls were now covered in something elegant. Check the upgrade. Out with that dusty old fabric sofa, and in with a sleek, stain-resistant tech fabric. 1. Add a minimalist glass coffee table to the mix. Even that old corner table got a glow-up with a vase of fresh carnations. Old roller blinds deleted. Clean, white, vertical blinds took their place. Under the warm lights, the whole spot felt straight-up cozy. "You are back!" Chloe popped out of the guest room looking hyped. The second she saw me, she dragged me over. "Look at this living room. I guarantee you are going to love it." Natalie and Mia were right behind us, dying to see their own room's transformation. When they saw it, their eyes literally doubled in size. The room had this fresh, relaxing, ocean blue theme. Chloe kept about a square metre of floor space near the door, then raised the rest into a wooden tatami platform. No bulky wardrobes, just built-in storage. The room felt massive now. It was still a bunk bed setup, but the modern version, top bunk went horizontal, and the bottom was a thick mattress placed vertically right on the wooden platform. No more dangerous ladders. She put in sturdy stairs. And get this, each step was actually a storage drawer. The other corner had a massive custom study desk, so both sisters could study without getting in each other's way. A tiny, cramped closet turned into a spacious, beautiful, and fully functional room. Total magic. She really is a world-class designer. Chloe showed us how the drawers under the stairs could even be removed. She pulled out a bottom drawer to show off. Then she tapped the wooden desk surface and looked at Mia. "Mia, your brother mentioned you love to paint. This material is oil-proof. 1 wipe, and it is clean as new. 0 stains to worry about." Mia's eyes were literally sparkling like stars. "Thank you. Chloe, thank you. Big sister. I have my own desk now. I can paint all day," seeing that radiant smile. Chloe was definitely feeling herself. She ruffled Mia's hair and gave me a smug look. "Well, young master, are you satisfied?" She leaned in, showing off her masterpiece. 0 design fees. And the materials alone cost over 50,000. If I did not pull massive favours and hustle, you would never have gotten this for just 20,000. I just smiled and patted her shoulder. As expected from the great Chloe, top-tier taste and cracked connections. Anyone else would have fumbled this. "Praise me more!" Chloe lifted her chin like a total queen. "If your budget was not so microscopic, I would have ripped up the tiles for full hardwood panels. You are more high maintenance than I am." I laughed. "When you are free, dinner is on me." Chloe just waved it off. "Nah. I heard the new Moonlight 98 series mechanical keyboard just dropped. You know what I want?" She gave me that expectant look, so I nodded. "Got it? Give me a few days, and I will have it sent to you." Chloe cheered. "Love you." I made a face and told her not to be weird. Once the job was finished, Chloe and her crew headed out. The Vance family tried to get her to stay for dinner, but she politely turned them down. After she left, the family started debating what to eat. Since the house was a construction zone all day, Susan had not bought any groceries for tonight. They decided to treat the kids to a nice meal out. "Vincent, do you like hot pot?" Susan asked softly, holding my hand. I was not used to touching strangers. I hesitated, but I did not pull my hand away. I have not really eaten it much. Only once for Leo's birthday 2 years ago. He opened a spot. It was good, but crazy expensive. Rich people do not really do hot pot. So it closed down in 2 months. I have not had it since then. Hot pot. It is. Susan decided. There is a great beef spot at the intersection with super fresh ingredients. Natalia Kimedin. Our little brother worked hard today, getting a designer to fix the house. We have to reward him. I agreed fast, and the family of 5 walked over to the restaurant. Susan held my hand the entire way. She was way more affectionate today. Mothers are just like that, I guess. So I did not mind, and let her hold on. Inside the restaurant, we sat at a big table. Arthur handed me the menu. "Order whatever you want." I pushed it to Natalie. "You order. I am just here to eat." Everyone laughed. Natalie watched as I pulled out a red certificate. I pulled a thick envelope from my bag and handed it to Mia. "Time to scam the little sister." "Mia, that painting you gave me was fire. I entered it into a school contest and won first place." Mia opened the certificate, totally mesmerized by the patterns. "Wow. It is so pretty." "Yeah. But since I used my name, the certificate has my name on it, but the prize money, that is all yours. First place is a big deal, really. Let me see." Arthur took the certificate from his daughter while handing the envelope to Susan. St. Flora's certificates really hit different. This is gorgeous. Arthur admired everything from the cover to the paper quality. Then he noticed the red seal was in English. Bro didn't have a clue, so he didn't even ask. I kept my poker face locked in. Obviously, he is totally lost. I used some random Indian dialect just in case they tried to check it. Since that seal was not even an official St. Flora gear, they completely missed the detail. Susan literally gasped when she opened the envelope and saw a fat stack of cash. This is insane. She remembered when Natalie won that city debate competition, and the prize was only $500. And get this, it was just bookstore vouchers. Who even gives out straight cash like this? I just took a sip of tea. The prize was $5,000. St. Flora is packed with rich kids. This kind of money is literally pocket change to them. Nobody even cares about the bag. So the school usually skips the cash prizes. I put my own money in to make it a real incentive. Mia's eyes went wide. "Big bro. Is this really all for me?" "Yep." You earned it. I lied without even blinking. No sweat. Lying is second nature to me. I had to lie to those two Sterling family psychos 1,000,000 times in my past life. Big bro. You keep the money, Mia said. Being all logical, if you hadn't used your name, my painting wouldn't have even stood a chance. I gave it to you to say thanks for introducing me to Master Owen. This prize is all yours. I froze, just staring at Mia. I was speechless. Suddenly, being around people who are actually selfless, I did not know how to act. Susan took the chance to shove the envelope back into my hands. For real. Vincent, you keep it. You are the one who connected Mia with Master Owen. The whole family is already so hyped and grateful to you, holding the cash. My brain, literally, short-circuited. I had to improvise fast. The painting is being auctioned at school. Starting bid is 5 million. All the money is going to a charity to build schools in poor areas under my name. I am getting all the clout, so Mia should get the cash. But she just shook her head. No, big bro. The name on the donation does not matter. Knowing my art is helping kids get an education is enough for me. My art was basically trash before. You are the one who made it fire. This money is yours. Natalie agreed. Vincent, she is right. You are the one who gave her art value, whether it is 5,000 or 5 million. That is your win. I frowned, totally unable to compute her logic. Why is this family so different? Do they not get how a fair trade works? 5 grand has nothing to do with fame. I wanted the clout. They needed the bag. It should have been a clean swap, since I could not make sense of it. I just shoved the envelope back in my bag. Tomorrow I am buying her a piggy bank and stuffing the cash inside. She is taking this money whether she likes it or not. After dinner, Natalie wanted to take me for a stroll around the block, just to walk off the food and see the area. The parents took Mia home first. By 8 p.m., the streets were glowing. Shop workers were out there shouting deals. While we walked, I asked, Sis, why are you still in 12th grade? The Sterling family records say you are a year older than me. You should have been in college by now. Why waste money holding yourself back a year when the family is struggling? Natalie looked down, staying silent for a bit. Then she let out a sad laugh. You will find out eventually, she said slowly. Do you know why the Vance family went broke? I tilted my head. Did it have something to do with you? Natalie ruffled my hair with a soft smile. When I was working part-time at a restaurant, I accidentally offended someone. They came after the family, and we lost everything. Back then, the Vance family was loaded, but we were only new money for about 12 years. We could not compete with the old money dynasties in Kim City. Since middle school, Natalie spent every break working, just to earn her own pocket money. Who knew she would accidentally mess with the wrong person? Theodore always blamed me for the bankruptcy. He said if I had just stayed in my lane, none of this would have happened. After we lost it all, the pressure was insane. Theodore was constantly screaming and cursing at me. I never fought back. I just took it. She sighed, looking heavy-hearted. Theodore's temper got worse. And then it got physical. He shoved me, and I hit my head on a wardrobe. The doctor said it was a concussion. It happened right before college exams. It was not life-threatening, but I was constantly dizzy and throwing up, so I failed everything. Everyone told me to repeat the year. So here I am. I just pressed my lips together. Do you hate Theodore? Natalie looked down sadly. I never blamed him. He was my little brother for 17 years. Family does not hold grudges forever. I just never expected him to switch up and leave so easily. Now I get that sad laugh. 17 years of love, and she gets a knife in the back. Losing money is one thing, but that betrayal, that cuts way deeper. Natalie turned to me with warm eyes. Vincent, we are family. Natalie is no fool. She's like, look, we don't need to calculate every little detail to see through this. That school certificate is total cap. I was shook. Like, how does she even know? She just laughed and told me she knows St. Flora doesn't hand out stacks of cash as prizes. I couldn't even argue with that. Then she hits me with the real talk. She says she won't mess with my decisions, but I gotta realize they aren't being nice just for a reward. They're doing it because I'm family. Period. She's hoping one day I'll actually see them as family too. I just stayed quiet and gave a little nod. On the way home, I spotted a shop and copped a piggy bank. The kind you have to smash to get the loot out. Natalie knew exactly what I was doing. But she didn't stop me. It was for her sister Mia, and she wasn't going to say no on her behalf. We hit up a bubble tea spot and started folding those $50 bills one by one, stuffing them inside. I asked her what she wanted to study in college. Law, she says. She sounded sure, but I could tell she was low-key hesitating. She's thinking about the money and the career path. Lawyers make bank, and the world always needs them. Right? I stopped folding and just looked at her. After a second, I shook my head. Big no. It just doesn't fit you. I can't imagine someone as sweet as her trying to be a shark in a courtroom. I suggested teaching, but then I laughed. Those students would bully the life out of you. Natalie just lost it, laughing. She's starting to think her new brother is low-key adorable. Or maybe, to an older sister, her brother is just the goat, no matter what. Back at the spot, Mia is crushing her homework at her brand-new desk. Suddenly, I slide this porcelain piggy bank right next to her. She looks up, totally confused, and sees me grinning. She's got questions written all over her face. I just leaned against the wall and told her it was a gift. This thing is a one-way vault. I already dropped the $5,000 prize money in there. I told her to put every cent of her allowance and lucky money in there too. But it's for emergencies only. If things ever get real, you smash it? She looked at me all innocent and asked, what counts as an emergency? I thought about Natalie getting hurt before and told her it's for when someone in the family is in danger. This money could literally save a life. I patted her head and walked off without another word. Mia looked at that little white pig, and it finally clicked. Money isn't just for snacks and drip. It's a shield for her family. She hugged that bank tight and hid it in the back of a drawer. She was locked in on saving every penny. After a shower, I hit the bottom bunk. Man, this new bed is fire. No more sleeping on hard wood like a peasant. I turned on the fan, sat up, and hit up Penelope. The second she picked up, I heard that smooth laugh. She's like, what does the Grand Duke want now? Or did you just miss me and want to chat? Penelope knows me too well. Because of my trash childhood, I'm always guarded. I never catch feelings out loud. I'd never actually tell her I missed her. If it's business, I'm direct. If I'm just calling to talk, that's me missing her. She started teasing me, asking if I was going to pay her for her time. She said she charges by the minute. I told her she should be honored. I'm even calling. I laughed and offered her the friend discount. $5 an hour. She checked the clock and said, how about $5.20? Low-key. $5.20 is slang for I love you. She was totally shooting her shot. I fell back on the bed laughing. We talked shop for a bit. The paperwork is almost done, and the deal is locked in. Everything should be official in a few days. I told her about my night, but I was still stuck on one thing. Why did the Vance family turn down that money? It makes zero sense to me. Last time I was this stressed was over a $5 million investment. Now I'm losing sleep over 5,000. Penelope just laughed softly. You're scared, aren't you? She said it so casually. like she could see right through my soul, scared of what I didn't deny it. I just didn't get it. Then she dropped the truth bomb. "You're afraid of family love." I went dead silent. She was right. Sometimes you need an outsider to point out the obvious. I was terrified of getting my hopes up just to get hurt again. All I ever wanted was a family that cared. But my old parents only cared about my sisters and their business. I was invisible. I had the drip and the expensive food, but I was starving for attention. I studied like a beast, topped every class, and crushed every task they gave me. All that just to hear my parents say they were proud of me. But that never happened. My heart was just crushed over and over. Hearing my silence, Penelope's voice got all soft. "Vince, if you encounter something your brain can't logic out, just feel it. With your heart. You deserve to be loved. I'm strong enough to face any disaster that comes our way." I told her I had nothing to worry about. Honestly, her words gave me a weird sense of peace. 2 years ago, before the Vance family went bankrupt, I found out I wasn't actually a Sterling. I told Penelope everything, and she started calling me Vincent, or Vince, dropping that trash surname on purpose. Vance. Her voice dropped an octave, sounding all warm over the phone. "Keep moving forward. I've always got your back." I smiled. I knew she was my ultimate ace. Even if I bet everything and lost, as long as I had her, I'd never really lose. Maybe my warning that day actually worked. For a while, Theodore behaved himself at school and didn't try to flex on me. The day of the Welcome Banquet came fast. At the hall, Spencer was shocked to see Leo. "What are you doing here? Aren't you on Vincent's side?" Leo played it cool. "I'm just here to gather intel, so I can roast him later. Look, the 2 Sterling sisters are back. I promised Vince I'd live-stream this whole circus for him." Leo was hyped, aiming his camera to catch the face slap. Luna rolled her eyes. But then she saw her fiancé chatting and laughing with some random person in the corner. Her face went dark. She marched over. But before she could start drama, the speakers crackled to life. Richard Sterling was on stage with the mic. Everyone turned to see Theodore looking all fancy in a white suit, standing between Richard and Beatrice. He looked like a pampered little prince, all elegant, but radiating straight arrogance. Leo hit me up on video call immediately. "Vince, the party is starting. The comedy show is officially live." He lowered his voice, doing a 360-degree pan with his phone. "What do you think your wild ex-sisters got Theodore for a gift? Guaranteed it's going to be trash." I was sitting at my desk, the lamp casting sharp shadows across my face. I had a smirk on my lips and a dangerous glint in my eyes. Less talking, more filming. If anything dramatic happens, make sure you get a good angle. Mission accepted. Leo flashed an OK sign and switched to recording mode, determined not to miss a second of the impending disaster. Richard delivered a long, boring opening speech. When he finally shut up, he handed the mic to Theodore. "Hello, everyone. I'm Theodore. When I first found out that the parents who raised me for 17 years weren't my real parents, I was totally shocked. It was some dramatic, ghost-written garbage." Theodore had just memorized the lines. Leo sneered and rolled his eyes again. Luna didn't care about Theodore's sob story. Nobody in that room gave a damn about him being switched at birth, or how he lived for 17 years. They were only there because it was a Sterling family event, one of Kim City's biggest power dynasties, whether they liked them or not. They had to show up to keep their face. Luna only cared that Leo's arm was getting tired. "Let me hold that for you," she whispered. She stepped closer to grab the phone, and Leo realized her face was way too close. He panicked instantly. He looked away and let go of the phone. Even though they were engaged, they had just turned 18. It was a purely business alliance. They grew up treating each other like bros. So, there was zero romantic tension between them. Or at least, that's what Leo thought. As he awkwardly stepped back, Luna just smirked. My little martial arts prodigy friend actually knows how to blush on stage. Theodore wasn't even halfway through his speech. Just as Luna grabbed the phone, a massive engine roar echoed from outside. The hall was on the first floor, but it was tucked away in the back of the hotel. You definitely shouldn't be hearing car engines from there. Theodore's speech was cut short. The confused crowd turned toward the massive wooden double doors. Boom! A sleek black Apollo sun god supercar obliterated the doors, ploughing straight into the hall. The crowd shrieked in absolute terror, scrambling to get out of the way. The long buffet table was toast. Wine and frosting exploded everywhere in a chaotic mess. Richard and Beatrice turned pale. They went from loving parents to pure horror in 2 seconds flat as they stared at the car. The car slammed on its brakes, screeching to a stop right in the middle of the ballroom. The passenger door popped open, and a huge sheepdog jumped out, charging straight at Theodore on stage. Theodore is terrified of dogs. He let out a high-pitched scream, tripped on the stage, and ate dirt. Get away from me. Get back. You beast, he was shrieking, flailing his arms like a loser. But the dog just sat there about a foot away, tilting its head and panting happily. It was actually kind of cute, showing zero signs of aggression. The driver's side door swung open. A doll. Slender girl stepped out. Her fit was insane. Tight black leather pants and a massive floral button-down. She was dripping in style. She lowered her shades with her slender fingers, leaning against the car like a total boss, the rebel energy off the charts. Homegirl literally just drove through a building and acted like it was a Tuesday. Totally unbothered. She hit them with a mocking smirk. Oh, wow. Little bro has a potty mouth. Big sis brings you a cute dog as a gift, and you start catching an attitude. Generous, yeah? Right? Everyone knew she was just here to nuke the whole party. She snapped her fingers, and the dog immediately trotted back to her feet. Total control. Richard's face was turning green. Gwen Sterling, who gave you permission to drive a car inside, you could have killed someone. Take that dog and your car and get out of here right now. Gwen just shrugged. Why so salty? Dad, your daughter was abroad for 2 years, and you didn't check on me once. Now that you have a son, I guess I am just trash to you. Don't make me say it again. Get out, Richard roared. Gwen gave a fake sigh and commanded the dog back into the car. She casually reversed the supercar through the ruined doors. Then Serena Sterling, the eldest sister, stepped up to save face. My apologies. Everyone. My younger sister has zero chill and gave you all a scare. I have already arranged for the ballroom next door to be opened for us. Please, follow me. Since Serena was the one asking, the guests decided to let it slide and forget their near-death experience. Meanwhile, Theodore was dragged into a VIP room by Richard and Beatrice. The tension was suffocating. Bro was cooked. Theodore couldn't even breathe. He was wringing his hands, his heart pounding out of his chest. Dad, I am sorry, he whimpered. I have been terrified of dogs since I was a kid. Before he could even finish, Richard spun around and hit him with a sharp backhand. Boom! Theodore hit the floor with a bloody lip. You absolute embarrassment. Richard was snarling. You were screaming like a street thug in front of everyone. You just destroyed our family's reputation. Theodore held his cheek, looking up in total shock. Since he returned, he was always the golden boy. He had never been hit before. He looked at his dad with pure resentment. Dad! It was obviously Gwen, who... Richard slapped him again. If I knew you were this useless... I never would have brought you back. Theodore started crying uncontrollably. His face was burning, but his heart felt even worse. He didn't get what he did wrong. Gwen was the one who crashed the car. So why was he the one getting a face slap? He looked at Beatrice for help. Mom, do not call me Mom, Beatrice said, her face like a mask of ice. Her voice was freezing. Every word stabbed him like a needle. Today, you made this family a laughingstock. Do it again, and I will kick you out and bring Vincent home. Now, go to your room and reflect on your failures. Richard glared at him one last time before leading his wife out to clean up the mess. Theodore was drained. He let out a crazy, self-deprecating laugh. It turned into hysterical screaming. No wonder Vincent dipped so fast. Bro didn't even pack clothes. He just grabbed his ID and left in under an hour. Beatrice thinks she can just bring Vincent back. She's delusional. Vincent wouldn't even look at them. Theodore's face went numb. He stood up, wiped the blood, and walked out the back door like a zombie. Family love. Whatever. Now he had silk clothes, gourmet food, and people bowing to him. He was living the high society life, and that was all he really wanted. But while the Sterlings were falling apart, the Vance family dinner was pure vibes. Everything was warm and full of laughter. Tonight we had sweet and sour fish, my absolute favourite. I took a sip of the spicy broth and hyped up Susan's cooking. She smiled so hard. Her eyes turned into little crescents. Natalie had some tea to share. A friend of mine has a brother working in film production. Those short web dramas adapted from novels are super trendy right now. My friend said I have the look for it. She can get me a part-time job as a supporting character. Is that even legit? The entertainment industry is notoriously messy. Scammers always lure people in with promises of fame, then demand a $1,000 training fee and ghost. Arthur had seen enough business scams to know better. Being a web drama actor is basically freelance modeling. Easy work and high pay. Sounds like a total scam to me. He warned. Natalie wasn't so sure anymore. Scams are everywhere nowadays. It's actually wild. Just wanted to see what you guys think. If the vibes are right, I'm hitting that audition. If they start yapping about a training fee, I'm out of there. No shot. But honestly, I think you should totally go for it. I was all in for her. I always knew her soft. Visual tier features were literally built for those tragic historical drama roles. Who knows? Maybe she'll go viral and get scouted by a top-tier agency. And even if she didn't blow up on her own, I could always pull some strings behind the scenes. Results would be the same anyway. Just give it a shot. I told her, maybe you'll find out you're actually cracked at acting, or find a hidden talent. Plus, it gives you way more options for your college apps. Natalie beamed at me. Fine. I'll listen to Vincent, since it's Saturday tomorrow. Come with me. Vince, staying home was going to be a snooze fest anyway. So, a little fresh air sounded fire. Sure. Let's head out after lunch so you can sleep in. Natalie ruffled my hair, giving off major big sister energy. Then she was like, oh, I almost forgot. She dropped her chopsticks and bolted to her room, coming back with a thick folder for Arthur. RT wants the commercial rights to Mia's painting. I handled the grind and finalized the deal. Here's the final contract. Dad, you're the legal guardian, so you got to sign off. Arthur opened it up, reading every line. Wait, what even is? RT, older people usually don't know the meta, but every young gamer knows this brand. Natalie started geeking out. Video games have massive esports tournaments now. RT is a top-tier brand for mechanical keyboards. Miete and headsets. Literally peak gear. They sponsor the national and world championships. Their brand ambassadors, last year's world champion team, absolute allegiance. Casual gamers love them too because the gear feels OP and the designs are super edgy and popular with kids. Even though most parents still think gaming is a waste of time, they can't deny the industry is making bank right now. RT wants to collab with Mia. This is a massive flex. Especially since she's still a hidden gem, since it's more of an art piece and not a high-level technical grind. They're paying a monthly licensing fee. If they use her art for that month's drop, they pay a set amount. It's not a crazy bag, but it's an insane start. Arthur finished checking for any trash clauses and handed it to Mia to sign. "This is amazing news," he said, glowing. Who knew our little Mia would be the one with the most potential? I low-key watched Natalie. I only saw pure joy on her face. Not a single drop of jealousy. Having a sister who's more successful isn't an L. It's something the whole family can flex about. No need for petty drama. Congrats on your first collab. Mia, let's go grab some boba to celebrate. I ruffled my little sister's hair. Want a mini cake too? Heck yes. The contract didn't really move me. But bubble, tea, and cake. That's the ultimate mood booster. I'll go grab them. I tucked the contract away and grabbed the kitchen trash on my way out. I'll come with you. Natalie followed me. We tossed the trash and started walking toward the boba shop. Just as we hit the entrance of the complex, a ridiculously flashy supercar roared toward us, slamming the brakes right in front of my feet. It was the Apollo sun god. I froze. My eyes narrowed. The smile completely vanished from my face. Gwen Sterling stepped out. She leaned against the roof, giving me a wicked, arrogant smirk. Well, if it isn't the little brother who ghosted us without saying a word. You left the Sterlings 15 days ago, and now you're wearing literal trash. Everything you're wearing combined isn't even worth one of your old breakfasts. I just hit her with a cold smile. Our eyes locked, and the tension was insane. Seems like Miss Gwen has a lot of free time. Is bullying your own brother not enough of a hobby? You drove all the way here just to check on me. I'm touched. Oh, I've been so worried about you, Gwen said, but her voice was pure cap. She walked around the car, every step oozing that rich brat energy. I haven't seen you in over a year. So, I brought a gift. She opened the door, and a massive sheepdog hopped out, acting like it recognized its true master. It ran straight to me, rubbing against my leg before sitting down perfectly. I looked at the dog and started laughing. You know, the person in front of me acts more like a dog than the actual dog. Did she really think? I wouldn't recognize this hand-me-down gift. I hadn't seen Leo's video yet. But I knew Gwen was a car freak. This limited edition Apollo sun god, her absolute favorite, had a dented front bumper covered in scratches. The paint was peeling, and it was splattered with dried champagne and cake frosting. Looking at the time, it didn't take a genius to realize she had driven this exact car straight through the Welcome Banquet doors. She sped straight here without even stopping. That dog. It was the exact same one she used to terrorize that arrogant little prince back in the day. Total trash behavior. Gwen just leaned against the door, acting all cool. You haven't changed a bit. Still hating second-hand stuff, she said. But honestly, I bought this dog for you. I was just taking him to get groomed. You are not really that petty, are you? Oh, please. I just chuckled and took a slow step toward her until we were inches apart. I stared her down, dead in the eyes. You picked a garbage gift. You know for a fact I hate dogs. I did not even clarify if I was talking about the animal at my feet or the person standing in front of me. The tension was insane. It was like two drawn swords, ready to swing. But Natalie, she was like a chill breeze. She felt the danger, but was not intimidated at all. "She is just built different," she said softly. "Vincent, the boba shop is going to close soon." Gwen acted like she had only just noticed Natalie even existed. She looked her up and down with pure disgust. "A broke, bankrupt loser. Are you seriously interrupting me?" Natalie just gave a faint, unbothered smile. "Zero salt," she said. "He is my younger brother. Whatever beef you have with him, his business is my business." Gwen just sneered. "You do not even deserve to be his sister." "Oh, so she doesn't deserve it." "But you do." I snapped back immediately. I was not holding back on the sarcasm at all. "Wow, you are so cold. Little brother." And here I thought living together for 17 years actually meant something. Gwen was not even mad. She leaned against the car, smiling. But that smile was totally fake. I rolled my eyes. "Why are you really here? Trying to drag me back to that hellhole?" Gwen looked totally indifferent. Her tone impossible to read. "I am just here for the comedy. Apologize now." I told her, "My house is right here. So where exactly are you telling me to return to?" "I am not leaving with you tonight." I said it flatly. "And next time, tell Serena to come find me herself. You know, she is not exactly an easy person to talk to. She is not my sister." I shot back instantly. We were in a total standoff. I felt the dog rubbing against my leg and looked down. The pup was wagging its tail, trying to play nice. My face went dark. I leaned down, grabbed the dog by its collar, and hoisted it up like it was nothing. Then I just pushed Gwen aside. I tossed that fur ball right through her open window. Smooth move. I was so done with Gwen and her chaotic drama. I turned to Natalie and my expression softened instantly. "Let us go. Sis, Mia is waiting for us." When Gwen heard me call her sis so naturally, her eyes went dark. She was fuming. Natalie noticed and gently pulled my shoulder, so I swapped sides with her, totally blocking Gwen's view. "It is getting late. Miss Gwen, you should probably head home." I threw the words over my shoulder as we walked away. Our shadows, one tall and one short, faded into the distance. Gwen muttered a curse. She whipped out her phone and made a call. "Your little brother found himself a new dog to play with. Are you really just going to ignore that?" On the other end, Serena was silent for a half-second before replying cold as ice. "If you are so jealous, go snatch him back yourself." Gwen was absolutely furious. "What is so great about that rotting slum anyway? Is his brain damaged? The Sterling estate is a literal palace, and you barely even come home. Are you really just going to let him rot in the dirt?" Serena stayed perfectly calm, ignoring her sister's little tantrum. "He is living in a slum right now, and that is 100% on you. Weren't you the one who ruined the Vance family and made them go bankrupt?" Gwen gritted her teeth. "I did one bad thing. Fine. But now, suddenly, everything is my fault." Serena's voice stayed totally flat. "Keep that attitude up. Do not even try to talk Vincent into coming back. He ignores you anyway. I am just going to sit back and enjoy the show." Then she just hung up. Gwen slammed her hand against the steering wheel and peeled off. Natalie and I bought 5 bubble teas and 2 mini matcha cakes. We walked back home in the cool night breeze. We were completely unbothered by all that drama. Natalie watched me for a while. After a moment, she said casually, "I think the second Sterling sister actually cares about you quite a bit." I stopped walking and just laughed. "Do not test me. Sis, I have zero intention of leaving with her. Now that I have finally left the Sterlings, I'm never going back. I finally crawled out of that abyss. I am not stupid enough to jump back into the fire. As for Gwen caring about me, maybe a little bit, but the way a lunatic shows love is something I just cannot handle. When I was 5, I was still naive. I desperately wanted that family warmth and a big sister to protect me. When I got bullied in kindergarten, I went and complained to Gwen. A normal person would defend their little brother. They would march to the school and handle the bullies. But Gwen, she dragged me to a taekwondo gym. She said, "If you are strong enough, no one can bully you." Then she proceeded to spar with her own 5-year-old brother. I had literally just started learning. She did not hold back at all. She hit me so hard I was severely injured. I was stuck in the hospital for 3 months. Susan's street food plan was going smooth. Today, Arthur's friend finally delivered the second-hand food cart, starting from the warehouse. She was ready to hit the local market tomorrow. High foot traffic means it's showtime. The neighbours were actually chill, helping her max out the recipe with their feedback. Then comes Monday, the official grand opening at the first high gates. Mom is about to get that bag and I am here for it. Mia was hyped, raising her bubble tea for a toast. We all clinked cups as we split those 2 mini cakes, one for Susan and one for Mia. Honestly, Vincent is our family's literal lucky star. Arthur said, getting all in his feels. Ever since he returned, everything changed for the better. Back when Theodore was here, he was just a professional hater, complaining 24/7. The vibes were straight up rancid back then. Everyone was depressed, living like NPCs in a bleak routine every single day. Since I regressed, I have been the one carrying the team and pushing everyone to level up. I showed them what is actually possible. Plus, I flexed my connections to give the apartment a total glow up. No more depressing decay. Everything is fresh, and everyone is absolutely cracked, chasing their goals while we stay closer than ever.